In this video, I'm going to show you how to make sourdough pizza 3 ways. On a pizza pan, on a pizza steel, and in a portable wood-fired pizza oven. Let's do this. First, I'm going to show you a really easy way to make some sourdough pizza dough, but if you want to skip ahead to the part where I actually bake the pizzas, go ahead and skip to this point in the video. So to make this sourdough pizza dough, I'm just using the exact same ingredients I use for my regular sourdough bread recipe, which I'll link in the description and in the card above this video. It's 300 grams of water, and add to that 10 grams of salt. Mix it up a little bit. And then we're going to add 100 grams of active sourdough starter. Mix up the sourdough starter a little with a spoon. Then add 450 grams of bread flour. All-purpose flour would work fine for this pizza recipe too. I've used all-purpose flour before. Then mix the flour with a spoon just till everything kind of comes together. You could do stretch and folds over the next couple hours to form this dough to kind of encourage the gluten development, but I'm going to take the easy route today and just put this in my KitchenAid stand mixer and knead it for about 8 to 10 minutes. So once it looks like this, I'm going to move it to the mixer. So I'm just going to knead this dough, the stand mixer with the dough hook attachment for, say, 8 minutes. Start on slow. Then once it all comes together a little bit more like this, I'm going to move it to the next speed, which is speed number 2 on my KitchenAid. And keep going until it's been 8 minutes. Then after you're done kneading, just go ahead and move this to an oiled container and let it bulk ferment for about 4 to 5 hours. I like to flip it over on the smooth side, cover it up, and let it rise for, like I said, 4 to 5 hours. Then once the dough has gone through bulk fermentation, I like to ball the dough up and move the dough balls to little containers that I grease with some oil, and I let the dough proof in these containers. First, before dividing and shaping the dough balls, sprinkle some flour on the top of the dough and flip it out onto the counter with the floured side down. Then give the dough a letter fold like this, folding it twice over itself. This way you have a nice long piece of dough that you can easily divide into 3 pieces. Just divide it into 3 equal pieces. You can measure if you want to. Then form each of these into a tight dough ball like this. Good to get the flour on one side, so the sticky side is up, the flour side is here. There we go. Just move each of these with the seam side up into the container so they get oil on the top. Then flip it out, flip it over. That way you get oil on the top and the bottom of the dough ball. So once you've balled up your dough and put them in these little containers, make sure you cover them up and let them rise for about 2 hours, and then they'll be ready to make pizza. Or you can put them in the fridge and they'll be ready to bake the next day. That's what I'm gonna do. When cooking in your home oven, whether you're using a sheet pan, pizza pan, or a pizza steel, you're gonna wanna preheat your oven to as hot as it'll go. For me, that's 500 degrees Fahrenheit for at least a half hour, even an hour would be better. Make sure your oven is nice and hot. When I cook using the pizza steel, I have the pizza steel on the bottom rack because that's as close as it can get to the heating element of my oven, which is at the bottom. So it's gonna stay there for the half hour that it's preheating. I'm also gonna put this rack right above it because I'm gonna start by cooking on the pizza pan, and so I'm just gonna put that right here, right above it. It's still really low, so it'll get a lot of heat from the bottom of the oven. Okay, for the pizza pan pizza, I'm gonna go thin crust, because if you try to get Neapolitan style pizza when you're baking on a sheet pan like this, you're really gonna be disappointed with the results. So I'm actually just gonna be rolling this dough thin. I just pulled this dough ball out of the fridge where it's been proofing for about 12 to 18 hours. I'm gonna dip it in flour. I'm gonna get flour all over this. And then I'm actually gonna roll it thin with a rolling pin. Now this is just my standard sourdough bread dough, and it'll work perfect for this pizza. You'll see it becomes just a perfect pizza crust. Then once the dough is rolled thin like this, I'm going to get the pizza pan, sprinkle it with a little cornmeal. You can also use semolina flour. That works really well. Then I'm just going to transfer the pizza directly onto the pan. Okay, this will make one about 12-inch thin crust pizza. I'm going to top it with a few scoops of tomato sauce. And top that with some whole milk mozzarella cheese. That's the low moisture mozzarella cheese. And I'm going to bake this in the oven for about 8 to 10 minutes until it looks bubbly and golden brown on top. And after 8 minutes, the pizza's looking like that. Now the next pizza I'm going to make on the pizza steel, so we're going to need a pizza peel. This is how you're going to transfer your pizza from the peel right onto the baking steel. It's going to be very similar to the last one. Get your dough out of the fridge, move it directly into some flour. I'm going to get flour all over the ball of dough. Then I'm going to shape this one by hand, and I'm not going to use a rolling pin. So I'm going to try to maintain crust, a thick crust around the edge. So I'm just pressing in the center of the dough, going around, leaving this edge, this crust, this border. Once it's like that, you can pick it up with your hands. Kind of keep your thumbs under the border here and just let gravity pull the dough down. stretch it out a little bit with my hands. And once it's about 12 inches or so, like the last one, I'm going to top it right here on the table. And once I've got all the ingredients on the pizza, I'm going to move it then to the pizza peel. So start with a few scoops of sauce. Gonna go low moisture mozzarella again. Gonna add one of my wife's favorite toppings, some giardiniera Chicago condiment. It's like pickled jalapenos, pickled vegetables and olives and some other vegetables. So I go sauce, cheese, toppings. Now that the pizza is topped, it's ready to go on the peel. So my pizza peel right here. I'm also going to put some cornmeal on this. You can use semolina flour for this too. It's going to keep it from sticking and allow it to slide right off the peel onto the pizza stone or the baking steel. Okay, this is the hardest part. There we go. All right. That'll slide off nicely. Then just take the pizza. You're going to slide it carefully onto the pizza steel. And let that cook for about 8 minutes again. And notice with the pizza steel, the crust starts puffing up right away. Then after 8 minutes in the oven, might have been a little too long. That cheese is bubbling. This crust really puffed up. And the heat from that pizza steel really gets you this puffy, crunchy crust. Oh yeah. And this last pizza I'm gonna make the exact same way, but I'm gonna cook it in the portable wood-fired oven. If you're wondering, mine is an Uni Fira. It runs on just wood pellets. There we go. I'm going to top this one almost the exact same way, but I'm going to be using fresh buffalo mozzarella instead of the the low moisture mozzarella. So it'll be a little closer to a Neapolitan style pizza. Go sauce, buffalo mozzarella, I'm actually going to go in for the red pepper flakes and dried oregano. Then the wood-fired pizza, which you can't see much of because I gotta close it, but I'll show you when it's done. Okay, and there it is. After just under 2 minutes in this Uni wood-fired oven, this is what we got: sourdough pizza. And there they are, sourdough pizza, 3 ways. We've got the pizza pan, the sheet pan, which made a thin and crispy pizza, the pizza steel, which made a fluffy crust, and you can make it in your home oven, and a wood-fired pizza. It's more soft and fluffy, but it does get those leopard spots that wood-fired ovens are known for. And the cool thing, this was all made with the same dough, just a regular sourdough bread recipe. You can get that recipe with the link in the description if you want to make sourdough bread or your own sourdough pizza. I'll see you guys in the next video.